Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys. Monday, March 2nd, Ian Cameron and Perlo and Alex B. Smith will be here in just a little bit as well, ready to break down the Monday NHL card. And as you can tell, we're starting pretty damn close to 2 p.m. Eastern, which doesn't happen very often, but there's a reason for that. We do have a game that is just about to begin. Very weird, odd 2 p.m. Eastern, non-holiday Monday afternoon game, but we have one, which is good. We got a hockey game to watch this afternoon, so we wanted to jump on here before this game started. We'll do the recap for Sunday after this, but we'll start giving you our thoughts here. Detroit-Nashville, this game just about to begin. We've got Detroit minus 115 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. It's obviously big 2 points at stake. Detroit has now slipped, by the way, to the first wild card spot. They are out of the top 3 of the Atlantic Division. After the weekend with Buffalo winning and Montreal winning, and it's basically pushed Detroit down to the first wild card spot. So, you get closer and closer, to that first, second wild card, and, there's still teams behind you can catch. So it's a big, important bounce back type of game for Detroit. They lost 5-2 to Carolina Saturday. Nashville coming in after a disappointing loss to Dallas. They were up 2-0, couldn't hold the lead. They lost 3-2 in overtime. I like the draw here. An early afternoon game. I think it's worth a sprinkle. You can get as high as plus 320 with that. And I have a very small over by Fecta here in this game with the Red Wings and Predators because I expect some aggressive play. You never know with as far as the defensive side of it for these early start afternoon games, how it's going to go. It is Gibson and Saros. No surprise there that that's the goaltending matchup. So I'm just very light on the over by Fecta and light on the draw. Just a couple of small bets here to get us going. There are a couple Nashville props I like, though. I like Stamkos. I like Eric Haula for the Nashville Predators. He's really started to pick things up a little bit. I think there's some pretty good value. You could find plus 450 for him to score. So that's pretty much it for this first game. It'll be fun to have this game on while we do the show. Perlo, what do you like in here, Detroit and Nashville?
I have Haula too, and I do have the draw as well, and I got over first period. I think after that Carolina loss, Detroit wants to put out a good effort here. I think they're going to come out hard. Nashville might get it back here a little bit, but come back. I don't mind both teams to score even a little bit, but not huge because it is a funky game. Apparently, it's going to be broadcast in Sweden, though. This is a big after the Olympics Sweden broadcast. So I'm looking at Forsberg and Raymond overshot
contingent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to make
Forsberg and Raymond for a point. You can get that at plus money. And Raymond overshots is plus 110. It feels like a good spot for that. I was waiting for it, wasn't able to get it out to anybody, but I do like Gibson over 25.5 saves as well here. And last night I was on the under until I found out all this, and I'm like, it's not going to be an under. So I'm going to put a little bit on the over 6 as well. I'm leaning, I like to draw probably. 3-3, something like that would be.
This is a game, Perlo, where I can make a case for Detroit. I can make a case for Nashville. It's one of those games for me. What I would say is that if someone falls behind, I might bet a live plus price with whoever's trailing. Whoever gives up the first goal, I'll probably bet them live.
We'll be watching live, so I'll tell you if I have any live bets because I'm going to be interested to see how this all starts out.
No doubt. That's a good point. Actually, that's a good point. That sounds like someone saying that. Rasmussen going to be up on that was not the case when I looked at the line combinations half an hour ago. So this is just something that's been updated since the pregame skate. So absolutely, we love the angles of the player moving up the line up to the top line. So I agree with that. I think Haula for Nashville, I like that value quite a bit. And now Rasmussen, 600 I'm seeing with Rasmussen at Bet365 to score, and he's on the top line now for Detroit. So that's a great price. I'm going to add that to the goal prop. Absolutely. Plus 600, Michael Rasmussen for the Detroit Red Wings. He will start the game on the top line with Dylan Larkin and Patrick Kane. So that's worth a shot for sure. So there we go. Good timing. I think the game's just going to start. They'll usually drop the puck at 8 minutes or so past the hour. So, definitely good to get that in. Alex will be here. I might miss Alex's thoughts on this. I don't think he had much on this game anyway, but he'll be here in a moment anyway. If he has anything he's going to target live, he'll mention it. All right. Yesterday, this was the first time, not great betting day for me since the break ended. Yesterday, it could have been obviously, look, we got let down by our Minnesota over train. Even the Minnesota over couldn't escape the tentacles of the incredible Sunday under that we're seeing here across the NHL. I mean, even the friggin' Sunday unders train for games, as Jonathan Davis has pointed out in our chat a bunch of times, 8 p.m. Eastern or earlier Sunday games have heavily trended under in the NHL this season. Even the great Minnesota over run could not overcome that yesterday in that game. But we started with, look, this is alarming now. As soon as this game ended, this Vegas-Pittsburgh game, the first game of the day, I immediately said, I've seen enough. I'm not waiting around on this because the price is only going to get worse on it. I bet Anaheim to win the Pacific Division plus 450 right after I saw that game. I said, I'm not waiting around anymore. And I'm not waiting around for Vegas to put their shit together and go on a run. I've been waiting for this for weeks for this Vegas Golden Knights team to play up to the level of talent throughout the lineup. Forwards, D, Aiden Hill continues to struggle in my mind, and we're just not seeing it. There's just way too many lapses, way too much inconsistency with this team. Their defensive play, I don't think, is anywhere like it's been in the past. They've got to figure that out because I don't think they're defending at a very high level right now, and we saw that. But give Pittsburgh some credit. I mean, we do. As much as we're slagging Vegas for that performance yesterday, we'll give Pittsburgh credit. No Sidney Crosby, no problem. They've won 2 of the 3 games without him since the Olympic break, and obviously they put the boots to Vegas yesterday, a 5-0 victory over the Vegas Golden Knights. And so, that's not what you want to see from Vegas. And it's funny, they beat L.A. with all the regulars out, all their best players out. The game where they sat Eichel and Marner and Stone and Theodore, they all didn't play against L.A. They get all those guys back against Washington and Pittsburgh, and they lose both games. There's some issues right now with Vegas, and Anaheim's right on their heels. I said I'm not waiting around. I took Anaheim to win the division at plus 450. I'm happy with that bet, happy with that price. And like I said, that the Vegas has now opened the door, to be caught here as far as the Pacific Division is concerned. So that was not a good showing, obviously, from the Vegas Golden Knights. How about the showing by Chicago yesterday, though, in the next game? Wow, that was good. Chicago, don't get me wrong, they played well. Tara Vine and a couple of goals, a 4-0 shutout over Utah. Utah was ass. Utah was absolutely horrendous yesterday. Totally asleep. The building was dead. Not that the team gave the crowd anything to cheer for in that game yesterday. And, Arvid Soderblom had a really good game. I thought it was a quiet shutout for him. And what I mean by a quiet shutout for him was Utah really that threatening? Were they really swarming the Chicago net relentlessly throughout that game? No, they weren't. I mean, it was really a stunning effort considering how tough that spot usually is for teams when they play Colorado the day before and they got to play Utah on a back-to-back the very next day. But give the Blackhawks credit. It was a great win. It's a bad loss for Utah. And I mean, every game matters. All the points matter. And Andre Tourigny sounded off, said, I can't believe we played like that. We got to be much, much better than that. And there's a couple of coaches that went off this weekend on their team. John Cooper did it with Tampa Bay on Saturday, and Andre Tourigny did it yesterday for Utah. So maybe you circle Tampa and Utah in their next games to have, come out storming, because neither one was very happy. Neither coach certainly was very happy with their team's respective efforts there in those 2 games. But credit to the Blackhawks getting the shutout 4-0 against a pretty listless it was Utah Mammoth team there. San Jose finds a way. They beat Winnipeg 2-1 in overtime. What a nice goal by Michael Misa in overtime for the Sharks to get the job done. I didn't mention this bet on the show, but I did bet it, and I included it on the Patreon page Sunday when I put the card up. I did get in on the draw with the Jets and the Sharks. Very happy I did that, and it ends up cashing there. But San Jose finds a way to win 2-1. That's back-to-back wins for them. after the losing streak was snapped against Edmonton on Saturday. So it's good to see the Sharks starting to get things going again. So yes, the Minnesota over train was at least derailed for one day. But St. Louis 3-1 victory over the Minnesota Wild. And here's another team that just didn't have their A game yesterday, the Minnesota Wild. Keep in mind, Quinn Hughes was in New York for Saturday Night Live on Saturday with his brother Jack. Of course, that got a lot of pub. The cameo they made on the monologue, the opening monologue of Saturday Night Live. So he flies into New York for that. He's got to fly back to Minnesota for the game yesterday. So I thought he was kind of out of sorts too yesterday. So the whole team was, but don't take anything away from St. Louis. Joel Hofer had a very solid game in net, and the Blues get a 3-1 win over the Minnesota Wild. That's disappointing for Minnesota. Like, you beat Colorado, really nice win, and you're closing the gap on the Avs, and now you've taken yourself, to me, right out of winning the division again with these two losses. It's going to be hard because Colorado's still got games in hand on Minnesota as well, and to Utah on the back-to-back, and then to St. Louis yesterday. That's why, to me, I never bought into Minnesota catching Colorado. To me, Minnesota's their battle is Dallas for second in the division. That's their battle, just to try to stay ahead of them for that home ice spot. What a game the Panthers and the Islanders were. How about a bargain bin special in dramatic fashion with Anders Lee, the captain of the Islanders, scoring the game-winning goal? What a move around Ekblad. All you have to do is watch that game-winning goal and see why Florida is likely not making the playoffs and why it's been a down season. That never happened to Forsling and Ekblad last year. How many times did they look that bad and gave up a game-winning goal like that to Anders Lee? I mean, both of them, miscommunication. You could tell it was a communication screw-up with Forsling and Ekblad, ironing out their coverages in that situation. They weren't able to do it, and Anders Lee took advantage of it. What a game it was, back and forth. They kind of, the rest of the team kind of carried David Riddick. David Riddick was not good. A couple of those goals were horrific, but give the Islanders credit, overcome some shoddy goaltending, and were able to find a way to win. And that's just such a gut punch, soul-sucking loss for the Florida Panthers when they need every point they can get, and to not even get a 1 point out of that game when you had a 2-0 lead in the first period. Very disheartening for the Florida Panthers. Another mental test for them, and they're running out of games. To squander points like that, you can't afford it. You're too far back right now. So tough loss for Florida. Another magnifico performance from Matthew Schaefer. I mean, what this kid continues to do for the New York Islanders is just spectacular. I mean, he's just such wise beyond his years on that blue line. We did cash the over easily. I like the over in that game. Very easy to cash that, the 5.5. That's 3-0 to the over for the Islanders, by the way, since the Olympic break. All 3 games of theirs have gone over. So nice win for the Islanders, 5-4. Against the Florida Panthers. Very entertaining game. I have to call out ESPN, though. Come on. What was with all the issues with the audio in the arena for poor Bob Wischusen and Ray Ferraro during that game? I mean, my goodness, their audio went out like 7 different times during that game. You got to have better production values than that. Holy mackerel. Terrible, turn of events there with all the technical and audio difficulties for the broadcast. But it was a great hockey game in spite of that. And then Anaheim does what Anaheim does. They're never out of a game. The Cardiac Kids. I mean, they're just never, ever out of a game. That's now 3rd straight comeback win against Edmonton, against who was it they beat on the Winnipeg on Friday night, and then, of course, yesterday, Calgary. Never out of a game. I posted it on Twitter and in our group chat. Anaheim plus 180 live bet in the second intermission when they were down 2-1 to Calgary, and they were able to get on the board early with the power play goal to tie it in the 3rd, and then of course they win it in the shootout 3-2. Very, very good. What a shootout goal, by the way, by Mason McTavish. You talk about hands, and you talk about opening up the goaltender. Did an absolutely outstanding job of that. And now that's why I bet it when I did. Anaheim to win the Pacific plus 450, because Vegas lost, and I said Anaheim's gonna have a good chance to beat Calgary tonight later on. And if that happens, the gap is going to be 1 point for Anaheim behind Vegas for first. And look at the price now. It's down to like plus 250 in most spots, Anaheim to win the Pacific. So look at how it moved on one day with a Vegas loss combined with an Anaheim win. We saw the futures price drop from plus 450 to plus 250 just based on yesterday's results. That's why I bet it when I did. I said I don't want to now take the chance to bet as good a price as possible away from me So that's why I got in on it then. And like I said, Anaheim is right there, and they have made it a race in the Pacific Division, 1 point behind the Vegas Golden Knights. Looks like we have a Detroit goal. I've got it on in front of me. Detroit has scored early against Nashville, and they have a 1-0 lead over the Nashville Predators in the opening few minutes in Music City. Perlo, your thoughts on Sunday's action?
Yeah, as far as starting off with Vegas, because you brought it up, I had some really thoughts in the back of my mind about those players not going home to play that game. And I've heard lots of things. In fact, JD has said it, that they hate Cassidy. They freaking hate him. They can't stand it. And I have a feeling that Cassidy wasn't happy with some of the things that they did, as far as like he's a hard ass, man. He wants you to be like professional and constantly on your game all the time. You can't have fun. And I think Cassidy did that. Like, no, you're not going home. Imagine you've been away from home for however long, and now you're not going home. You can't go home with your family or anything like that. I think that team looks disheveled, pissed off. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they hate their coach. And if you watch them during that game, it didn't even look like they were pissed off. They looked like their head was down all the time. They had no confidence whatsoever. It was brutal, dude. Brutal.
Emotionless. That's
emotionless.
The word for it. Yeah.
So I took something a little different than you did. At plus 2,000, I took Vegas to miss the playoffs.
Oh my god!
And
I don't know if they'll fall that far, but boy, I mean that's bold.
And I'll tell you why, because they have first of all, they're a bad home team. They've got a really tough home schedule coming up, and they got a lot of tough opponents here coming up as well. I could see them going on a serious downturn here. Now, I of course didn't put much money on this, but I'm going to be betting against them for a while after I saw that there. Unless Cassidy all of a sudden does the, hey, guys, it's okay, I was this or whatever, and pumps them back up and then goes, you might see that. But if I don't see that, and from what I've seen of Cassidy, he's not known for that. I mean, there's a lot of players that have asked to be traded because Cassidy was a coach. Brilliant mind, but I'm not sure about the rest of it. A few things I learned yesterday is I think a lot of these teams that were really in it, like the favorites, I think when they first got back, you've got that you're still running on adrenaline, and I think it all hit the wall. I'm going to remember that next time when 4 years from now, I actually wrote it down, that the first game or two back from an Olympic break or a game, then it's kind of a bet on because you're still running on that energy, and after that, maybe the second or third game, we're human and it fell off. And I think you saw that with the Mammoth. They had a lot of guys that were, what's his name? Keller didn't look like anything yesterday. And like a lot of their big guys, like you said, with Hughes in Minnesota, something to keep your eye on there. I mean, even the Ducks halfway through the game with the Flames looked like they're like, are you going to get your energy back here? They played well, but it was the Flames. I think if the Ducks were playing a much better team, they would have been in trouble in that game. So something to
excuse them a little bit though, because they had by the way, I didn't even mention that the Joel Quenneville ceremony before the game about the 1,000th win, which was excellent. They did a nice job with that. It was great to hear Scotty Bowman, the only other coach in history to have 1,000 wins, do a nice tribute and message to Joel during that ceremony as well. That was great. I think that was part of it too.
First goal, first period for the Flames. I forgot all about that when I was doing my betting, but I did have the over with the Islanders-Panthers game. It wasn't my worst day of the season, but it wasn't a good day. That's for sure. But that's what I got from most of that. I'm going to remember that for next time, because this is something I personally have not capped the Olympics before, because I started about 7 years ago. So I'm learning all this stuff when you have like a big event like this coming back and stuff like that. So I got to keep that in the back of my mind. But I did get the over. with the Panthers, and that was a good one. I, like you, had the Wild and Blues over. I did bet it for less than I normally do, but it had to fall, and if it was a place to fall, that was probably it with the Sunday afternoon stuff. I had the under in the Golden Knights Pittsburgh game, and that was scary a little bit, and the under in the Sharks Jets, which was good. But overall, wasn't my best day. But that's the two things. Vegas, I'm really, really starting to get concerned about what's going on there. We'll see if Cassidy can build them back up again and get some backing, because right now it looked that in that game, that team looked completely confidenceless, beat up, absolutely destroyed as far as their own personalities or their attitude and the way they presented themselves. It's going to be interesting to see what Vegas does moving forward for sure. But I just bet a little bit on it, a little tiny bit, not much.
Yeah, I was about to say, you said how hard their schedule is. Based on the strength of schedule numbers, they've actually got one of the easier ones, Vegas, according to that graphic. So it may not be as difficult a schedule as you thought. I think
it's down the stretch.
Must be Kelly McCrimmon's, PR guy or something.
I think it's down the stretch.
Players are not asking to be traded out of Vegas, Perlo.
No, I know. I think it's down the stretch they don't, but their next bunch there are. And if they start having this lack of confidence and they keep losing, the ball could just keep on rolling there. I just doesn't look good.
We'll see. I'll tell you what, yesterday didn't look fucking good. I'll tell you that. That's a terrible performance by them against Pittsburgh. To play like that when you lost it against Washington. I can't even use the early start time as an excuse. That's no excuse. You got to play better than that. I don't care that you're playing 1 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday. Play better than that.
I think they have Buffalo next.
It's not going to get any easier. The Red Hot Sabres coming up tomorrow night. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Once that ball starts rolling downhill, if you can't find your confidence, man, I don't know.
Got to stop the bleeding. Put out the fire sooner rather than later. All right, here he is, Alex B. Smith. Alex, thoughts on what we saw on Sunday?
Yeah. Sorry for the delay. We're having some issues technically, but interesting day on Sunday. Sundays can be tricky with the shorter card, and the biggest shock of all has to be what the Hawks did yesterday. I thought this was going to be a slam dunk spot for Utah. This looked like it was, going to be kind of one of those scheduled losses for the Hawks, a Soderblom start, and it was anything but. Soderblom played well, got his first career shutout. Like I said on Twitter, sometimes a blind squirrel finds a nut and a broken clock is right twice a day. And I say that because Utah did press a bit early, and then they just kind of just fell apart. The second and third period just seemed like they were just kind of disinterested and out of it at some point. At one point, and it was a Chicago all running. Teuvo Teravainen, someone who hadn't been chipping in as much offensively before the Olympic break, comes in, gets 2 goals, one of them being shorthanded. Nick Foligno, congrats to him, his 250th career goal. That was just a complete game, and it was a Hawks team that, built off of some momentum. Hey, they felt like they, were in that game against Colorado for a good 40, 45 minutes, which they were, and that was mostly Spencer Knight keeping them in that game. It wasn't necessarily the forwards and the defensemen. They carried the pace and backed up their goalie, yesterday, and Soderblom was the beneficiary of it. So he gets his first career shutout. Probably would look to fade him in his next start just off of that alone. But that's a tough loss for Utah. If Utah comes 1 or 2 points short of the second wild card or a wild card spot, missing the playoffs, that's a game you can circle and look at. You're supposed to win that game if you're Utah. At home, early Sunday start, catching a Hawks team on the second of a back-to-back coming out of Colorado, of all places. You cannot afford to drop points like that in a tight race. Big win for San Jose, a 2-1 win. Like I said, you want it to be a little bit easier against a team like Winnipeg that's been kind of trending downward, but that's still a good win. We talk about this young team that's still learning how to win. And those are games that San Jose, they wouldn't win those games last year, the last few years. They won that game yesterday, and that's a good solid move for them. And, of course, Anaheim, that's the big game of all. I mean, another comeback win for these guys. This is a team, like I said, continuing to roll at home, getting the points, getting those 2 points you need during this homestand. They've got 4 more games at the Honda Center where they've been dominant. And you look at we talk about the Pacific Division, and you talk about, how you said Vegas slipping down yesterday, Vegas on the East Coast trip where they tend to struggle. We've seen that over the years with Vegas. When they go out east, they get tripped up by some teams that maybe they're better than on paper, but they just aren't playing the full 60-minute effort. That's a great time now for Anaheim to try and catch up momentum, possibly end up in the next week or two leading that Pacific Division.
No question, and like I said, that's why I jumped on that division future. So I'm not waiting around here. As soon as I saw Vegas look so horrific against Pittsburgh, I'm like, I got to bet this now because I have a feeling Anaheim's going to beat Calgary tonight, and the price will go down. And betting it when I did plus 450, I got myself a better price. It went down to plus 250 after that Anaheim win last night. So, it's all about timing, and at least we got a little bit better price. Now, they've still got to go out and get the job done, and, there's still work to do. They're still 1 point back, but they're in position. They can do it. There's no doubt. And if Vegas doesn't improve their own style, their own performance, Anaheim's going to have that opportunity, no question. That's great stat from Jonathan. Always has got good stuff. Vegas, 5-20 versus playoff teams. They can't play a dump and chase game because they don't have the players that excel. Of course not. Yeah. None of those guys do. Stone can't play.
Stone got injured.
He loses the foot race every time because of his lack of speed. He can't play that.
Stone got injured too. Stone got injured.
Didn't even mention that. Yeah, Stone left the game due to injury, and now who knows how much time he's going to miss. Might be minor, but
yeah. I want to make one point before we get into the Monday card, and this is something that is pertinent to the entire week, especially on Friday. Here we are. This is trade deadline week. I put this on Twitter as a PSA. Check who is tweeting out trade information. Check for verified marks. Check for correct names. Don't be fooled by all these, Frank Saravellis and all the fake names. We've seen this happen year after year on Twitter.
Friedman's out there. Don't fall into that trap.
Don't fall for that shit. And if you see any fake names, you see anybody tweeting out bullshit, you block them. We have no time for that bullshit. There's a bunch of trade rumors floating around left and right. We want to get things, right, and not just rush to hear what one person's saying, and then it turns into a big firestorm. That happens every single fucking year on Twitter. Hope it not happen this year.
That goes for you too, Perlo. You're the one that usually falls victim to that shit more than anybody. So yeah.
What? I have guys that there's two guys that you're usually something's going. I have two guys in my DMs. If they send something to me, it's not too bad. The Boston one was the one I put out today. There is a lot of talk about that. Yeah. It's not like they're out of it. And Carolina is in there too. So with Thomas.
My PSA is to everyone. Just double check everything and make sure that you're not retweeting something that's bullshit.
But I don't say that's happening. I said I heard there's some they're putting a pretty good push. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. There we go. Good stuff. All right. Yeah. So a very interesting Sunday. We move. Oh, by the way, just before we get to the rest of Monday, we of course have the game that's already underway. Detroit, Nashville. It's 1-0. Detroit with 7 minutes to go in the first period. Is there anything live you're targeting in that Detroit Nashville game, Alex?
No, not a single thing. I actually didn't even realize this was a day game until I woke up this morning.
I didn't realize it until last night when I started working on the card. I'm like, what the fuck is a 2 p.m. game? What the hell?
I was doing the show last night, and I was like, we were capping it, and then I went and looked at it, and I was like, what the heck? What the heck is this?
Apparently,
didn't Nashville have that ice storm or whatever too, like something like that?
Right, and that's the thing. I think the league's using this, and I think they're using next week's read There was a game that was canceled with Columbus and LA, and I believe that's going to also be a day game next week too. And this is kind of their way of giving the European crowd an evening game that's within reason for them to watch. So
that's right. I get why they do that.
I understand it.
Yeah, I don't mind that because again, there are a lot of people that do watch the NHL in Europe, and at least you're giving them, like I said, an opportunity to watch some hockey when it's a good time for them. Be able to watch it. So, yeah, that's definitely good to see, but no question about it. Let's get into the rest of the Monday card. Oh, 2-0 Detroit. There we go. Yeah, first period.
Over first period. There we go.
There we go. We do have a small, again, for those of you just joining us, I mentioned right off the top of the show, I'm on a small over by Fecta in this game, and I'm also on the draw, but the draw's not looking so good right now. Nashville's got to get going for that to happen. So, yeah, Detroit just made it 2-0. Looks like Edvinson. Yeah, I think so. Let me see here. Yeah, I think it might be Edvinson's goal here
There you go.
for the
the Swedish angle, Perlo. You were talking about that with looking
Yeah,
at some
but
of the
I didn't
Swedish
pick
players.
him.
Yeah, I know. That would have been a nice price. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never even thought about Edvinson. Jeez.
Yeah. Wow. So there you go. Detroit, obviously on the board, and with the 2-0.
It's 3-0. It's 3-0.
Edmondson. Is it 3?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. The over's looking good.
I haven't seen it yet. If it is 3,
Everybody just chimed in now saying 3-0, 3-0 in the chat. So
Hasn't changed on the
It's
NHL
2.
network.
It's 2. Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah. It looks like it's 2. Yeah.
Actually, Edvinson would have made sense.
I'm just looking. Right? It's getting reviewed.
Oh no, it's 1-0 now. Yeah.
No, I think this is under review here. We'll see. It might be under review. So hold on. The first period over may not be home and cool yet, but we'll stay tuned. Stay tuned. Right. So, like I said,
NHL Net has already put it down to 1-0. So
yeah. So that might be hold the phone on that right now with that. All right. Anyway,
what happens when you have hockey in the afternoon?
Yeah, that's right. Get weird shit going on.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, let's get into it. We've got Columbus taking on the New York Rangers. There we go. We'll move on. I think it is still. Yeah, I think it is still going to be 1-0. Columbus and the New York Rangers. We've got Columbus minus 120, road favorite, 6 the total here in this game. I think when you look at this situation here with the Jackets and the Rangers, it's cheap to me with Columbus. Okay. And they need a win all of a sudden. They lose to Boston the first game out of the Olympic break. They lose a tough one to the New York Islanders where they had the early lead, and then were able to come back and get the victory there in that game, the Islanders. So this is the spot here for Columbus. The New York Rangers, now credit to them, they did beat Pittsburgh, came back from a deficit in that game, rallied from 2-0 down, won in a shootout against the Penguins on Saturday afternoon in their last game. But tell me, go back and look at the New York Rangers games this season, and their past results. Show me the amount of times they've won 2 in a row. The last time they've won 2 in a row was 2025, okay, last year. It's the last time the Rangers won 2 games in a row. You have to go all the way back to December 18 and December 20. When they won 2 straight games. They beat St. Louis in overtime December 18th, and they beat Philadelphia 5-4 in a shootout December 20th. That's the last time this Rangers team has won 2 in a row. Which means that they are, let me just count it up here for you, 0-2, 0-3, 0-5 off a win. 0-5 off a win, their last 5 games off a win. So this is not a team I trust to withstand prosperity. This is not a team I trust to win 2 games in a row. It's going to be Merzlikins and Shesterkin in net. Not too much of a surprise there. But I'm going to go with Columbus here. This is a game you got to have if you're going to try to hang with it in this race and track down a New York Islanders for 3rd in the Metro or Boston in the wild card. If you're going to continue to give yourself a chance to make a push and make the playoffs, you got to win this game. Absolutely got to have it if you're Columbus. So I like them here, minus 120. They're the better team anyway. And I like Columbus first goal, first period, plus 120. It's another thing I've noted about Columbus. Even though they lost to the Bruins and the Islanders out of the break, they scored the first goal in both of those games. Scored the first goal against Boston, and they scored the first goal Saturday against the New York Islanders. So I expect a fast start. I like Rangers first goal, first period here. Again, plus 120, plus 125. That's what you can find with that. Alex, Blue Jackets, Rangers.
Yeah, this is a cheap price, like I said, to back Columbus here, and the team totals are a little bit inflated. I don't want to lay 135 to get an over 3. I feel like Columbus can win this game, and it should be at least a 3 or over 3 goals with that spot. So maybe look for a team total in game, but pre-game I'll leave that $1.20. I'm saying $1.22 at FanDuel. Rangers at home, you can't trust them. Especially like say coming off of a win, I really don't trust them. So yeah, give me CBJ here on the Monday line.
Yeah, when you've gone 2.5 months without winning 2 games in a row, you can't be trusted off a win. That's the way I see it. That's just that's a long time, to not obviously put 2 wins in a row together for the New York Rangers. So yeah, I think Jackets, they get it done here. What do you think, Perlo? Columbus, New York Rangers.
I think the Rangers will pick their spots every once in a while. The Rangers-Pittsburgh has been a rivalry for a long time. I mean, did they really look good in that game? not particularly. They just poured it on in the third, and kind of Pittsburgh was back on their heels a little bit. They were having troubles winning faceoffs and stuff like that.
24-13 after the first two periods for Pittsburgh, the shots. So, yeah, I agree with
that. Exactly, right. So they woke up a little bit and had a little pride and won a game. Like, fuck, I don't give a shit. I'm not backing the Rangers. There's no freaking way. One thing I do know for sure is they ain't blocking any shots. Like, everybody's just trying to make it. It feels like to me, everybody's just trying to make it to summer intact there in New York. There's going to be other things going on. There's going to be people being traded and all that kind of stuff like that. And they haven't showed any heart all year. So do I believe they're going to show heart? I know Columbus is a division, but it's not a rival really. And I think on the other side of things, Columbus has actually played really well and lost. I thought they played well against the Islanders. Even in that Boston win, they outshot them 40-22. It's not like they've been playing poorly.
Yeah, they carried play. Carried play.
Yeah, they carried play. So if they do that against the Rangers here, and I don't have reason to think they won't, since even Pittsburgh, who wasn't having maybe at their best in that game, was still carrying play most of the time. I like Columbus. But the more than that, they've allowed, like I said, they're not blocking shots. So I like Shesterkin over saves. It's 25.5. Columbus is a high volume shooting team. And they're on the road. Columbus averages about 30 shots a game against a Rangers team that gives up like 42 to Carolina is understandable, I suppose. But, 33 to Pittsburgh, 33 to Pittsburgh before that. Even 24 to Philadelphia is pretty high because Philadelphia has a hard time generating shots. So I think Columbus can generate enough shots. I do think Shesterkin, he plays with a lot of pride. I think he'll play well today and he'll stop a bunch of them. And Columbus will end up winning this. So I got Columbus on the money line. I agree. I think it's pretty cheap price. And Shesterkin over saves are my two plays in this one.
I like Fantilli as far as a goal prop for Columbus. Back-to-back games, he scored. Marchment as well. And I thought I would be taking a break from betting Charlie Coyle, but then I saw earlier today it's his birthday today. So it's going to reel me back in with Charlie Coyle here today for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the birthday boy for the Jackets. I like Jonathan. Even though I think Columbus scores the first goal, I think first Rangers goal, Mika Zibanejad, and he did score the first Ranger goal against Columbus earlier this season. Now, not first goal scorer for the game, but first Rangers goal for Mika Zibanejad. That's probably, in my opinion, worth a look here as well. But Columbus.
Would you take a shot, because you like Columbus first goal, first period? Would you take a shot with Zibanejad second goal scorer? You can get that at FanDuel.
Yeah, that's true. I should actually. That makes perfect sense. If I think Columbus is going to score the first goal, then there's somewhat of a chance the Rangers could tie it 1-1. And if that's the case, you could take Zibanejad's second goal score. That's something to consider. No question about that. Although it could be something where you get 2-0 Columbus, then they score the Rangers. Who knows? But like I said, it's definitely another option you could have to go about it if you like Mika to be the first goal scorer of the game for the New York Rangers. All right, next up we've got. It's on Monday. It's only on Prime. This is your Monday night Amazon Prime game. Philadelphia Flyers, Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto minus 130, home favorites. 6 the total here in this game. I think we got a power play goal here, Nashville. Hopefully this doesn't get taken off the board. Let's make sure there's no fucking reviews here. But looks like it's 1-1. Predators have tied it up here against the Detroit Red Wings. Power play goal for them. Let's just get the verification on this first because we do have some over 1.5s here.
I swear to God, my FanDuel says 2-1 Nashville.
Yeah, I know. Which is no.
What the fuck is going on?
Is this afternoon game? They're all screwed up.
What the fuck is? Oh yeah, what are we doing here right now? This is insane.
Yeah.
I see 1-1 on MGM, 2-1 on FanDuel. So
and it is Philip Forsberg. Yep, Philip Forsberg.
Okay, there you go.
Yep. There it is. It's official. First period over. All right.
Forsberg.
Yeah, absolutely. Toronto minus 130, home favorite, 6 the total in this game. I'm on Philadelphia. It's that simple. I'm on Philadelphia here, plus 110. Leafs are just, they're fade material until proven otherwise. I said it the other night with the Ottawa game. What, tonight we're going to expect some heart, some guts all of a sudden when we didn't see any of it Saturday night against the Ottawa Senators, especially when they're favored. I've got no problem at all taking Philadelphia here, plus 110 at this price. Big win for Philadelphia against Boston. Now, it was on the back of Dan Vladar. He was fantastic. You know, Boston certainly had their chances in that game, but he was great in net, and the Flyers were opportunistic. And the Flyers, with that win, suddenly there's a little – it's going to be tough. You know, it's going to be tough for Philadelphia to make the playoffs. But, you know, that was a game they had to have because that's a team they got to catch. Boston in the second wild card spot. They did. There's still at least a glimmer of hope that Philadelphia can make the playoffs. I like the Flyers here, plus 110. Stolars and Vladar, by the way, the starting goaltender matchup in this game. Now, my one concern, I guess, is that Toronto's owned the series. I think Toronto's beaten Philadelphia 5 or 6 straight times. And normally I don't go against that kind of series history, but current form and current situations override series history, and they have to in this situation. How can you trust the Toronto Maple Leafs right now with what we've seen from them? Absolutely gutless effort, against Ottawa Saturday night. You know, a rival, you know, if you had any inkling to try to salvage playoff hopes after losing the 2 games in Florida, you had to win that game Saturday. And to be outshot at one, the shots in that game at one point were 26-3. Can you believe that? 26-3 for the Ottawa Stamp. You talk about there's getting caved in, and then there's getting absolutely fucking buried in your own zone. And Toronto was that on Saturday night against Ottawa. So, you know, I'm not waiting around for them to show some guts. You know, they got to show it to me first. So I like Philadelphia here, plus 110. The Leafs, anytime they're favored now at this point in time, I'm going to be interested going the other way. Alex, what do you think here? Flyers, Leafs.
We're at that point of the year where we don't need to bet on 2 bad teams playing a game, and that's exactly what you have here. This is a Flyers team where if they were getting a little bit more momentum offensively, I would be able to trust them. I'm just even looking at the under. They've gone under in 7 of their last 10 games. To taking on a Toronto team that has dominated them historically. 9 of the last 10 meetings been decided by the Maple Leafs. I want no part of this game at all. I understand fading Toronto, and that's definitely the stronger of the looks. But I can't back Philadelphia right now, home world or otherwise either. So it's a pass for me.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I know Philadelphia is not the most beautiful commodity to bet on right now. There's no question. But at this price, I will. I think there's at least a little more, team urgency, a little bit more competitive spirit at the moment from the Flyers than anything I've seen from Toronto the last couple. Perlo, what do you think here? Philadelphia, Toronto.
My first instinct when I was doing the show last night was exactly what you said. How the heck do you back Toronto? And then, in the chat, and this should be a Toronto spot. This is like they played very tough competition. They just played Tampa. They played Ottawa. And now they've got a lesser team to be able to beat down and stuff like that. Yep. So it is a lesser team that they should be able to beat down. But I think Philadelphia is going to play this. Of course, I mean, it's not like they don't play hard. Philadelphia loses because they just don't have all that much talent all over the lineup. It's not because they don't play hard. So I think they will play hard. So with that in mind, give me the draw here. I like the draw. I think Philadelphia will play hard. Toronto, they got enough talent to pot one if Philadelphia scores one. So, yeah, I do like the draw. But I think more than anything, like you just mentioned, Toronto, they had three shots on goal against Ottawa there. Take this as a live game. If you see Toronto coming out flat and Philadelphia is all over them, then bet Philadelphia. That's what I would go with this. And if you see Toronto actually wake up and do something, you may want to do something with Toronto. Maybe Philadelphia scores first and they start playing hard. They could actually win this game. But more than anything, I think my bigger bet on this is Konechny loves playing against Toronto. He's from London, Ontario. He's
actually a game time decision. He's a game time decision.
Oh, is he a game time decision? All right.
Yeah.
That changes things too. I'm almost
open to it. There's no doubt that would be they'd miss him. Yeah.
And Vladar is going to be in net, right? So this seems like an under game, close draw, something like that. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, another birthday boy says, Jonathan. Yeah, Max Domi can't put the puck in the ocean right now, but if you think the birthday angle is going to change things, I don't mind it. But he just can't get anything going offensively. It's been that kind of season for him, Max Domi. But like I said, it's he hasn't been great. Bobby McMahon's cooled off. We've obviously had Matthews and Nylander up and down. Matthew Nyes is not playing at the level he did last year, not consistently anyway. But I do like Scott Laughton to score. I do. I think that's definitely absolutely got to bet that to me. And he's actually the one Leaf, even in the game against Ottawa on Saturday. That guy is trying to get involved in scrums. He's trying to bring some kind of emotion out of his team. And you got to give Laughton credit for that. So, Scott Laughton at plus 700. If I were to look at someone for the Leafs, especially with the price you're getting, it would be him. No question about that. Yeah, Easton Cowan did score against Vladar, I remember, in the game in Philly. So it may be an Easton Cowan. Yeah, that's when I start to get interested. I don't want to be betting Nyes and Matthews and any of those guys. If I'm going to bet anyone for Toronto, it's got to be worth the bang for my buck. And for me, that's Laughton and Cowan. Those are some better prices that you're looking at there for both of them here tonight. Again, Konechny a game time decision. So we will see if he does indeed suit up here for the Leafs in this one. All right, Carolina, Seattle. We've got Carolina minus 180 road favorite, 6 the total, shaded to the under. Yes, this is what they should have done Saturday. It's called have multiple late games, not just one. But they've rectified that here tonight with Carolina and Seattle. You look at this game, Carolina, they've come out of the gate offensively, really playing great. Really playing well, Carolina. They're lighting it up offensively. They lit up Tampa coming out of the break. We saw, obviously, them put 5 on the board against Detroit on Saturday night in a 5-2 win. So they've got 10 goals here. I've got a little Carolina team total over here in this game against Seattle. I know the Kraken got back on track with a 5-1 win against Vancouver. But let's not forget, there's also a team that lost to St. Louis and Dallas before that. And to be honest, Carolina, 6-3 in the 9 meetings between these two teams. They've played them pretty well. So the Carolina team total here in this game, you can get it at even money plus 100 in that range over the 3.5. I kind of like the over 5.5 here a little bit too, just because you're able to get a 5.5. I mean, Carolina's gone over in the 2 games, Tampa game, Detroit game, both went over the total. Like I said, it's sometimes with this Seattle team, it's not always easy to trust them to see their games go over the total, but we have seen back-to-back Seattle games get to 6 goals against St. Louis and Vancouver. So 6 goals cashes your ticket here. So I've got a little bit between Carolina, team total over 3.5, and full game over 5.5 here with Hurricanes Kraken. Alex, what do you think here, Carolina, Seattle?
I'm with you on that team total over 3.5, but I also went regulation money line minus $1.10 with Carolina, and I went Carolina first goal, first period. You can get that plus 105 over at FanDuel. Those are 2 prices that I really like, and we cashed with that in Carolina's last game. Like I said, their offense has been rolling, and I just think this is just a continuation of where Carolina is playing a step down in competition. Yes, I know Seattle is still in the wild card race, but they are not on the same plateau in my eyes as the Canes, especially with more than likely Brandon Bussey started going, how hot he's been. This is Canes. So Canes team total, Canes regulation, and Canes first goal, first period for me.
All right, good stuff there. No question. As far as props on the Carolina side, I'm totally in agreement with what Robert's saying. Is that line has been, I think, their best line really since the Olympic break ended. And that's the line of Taylor Hall, Logan Stankoven, and Jackson Blake. They've been great. Jackson Blake scored the other night. Taylor Hall with goals in back-to-back games. I think his prop is definitely worth a look in that, plus 390 range with Taylor Hall. Back-to-back games with a goal for him. Stankoven, anyone on that line. That's where the value in Carolina's props are. I mean, certainly Aho and Jarvis and Svechnikov on the top unit could make things happen. Jordan Stahl's another player to consider. He's been scoring a bit more lately, but it is that line that has got it cooking right now for Carolina. Hall with Stankoven and Blake. They've been really good for Carolina of late. What do you think here, Perlo? Hurricanes, Kraken?
I made a mistake last night when I was doing the show. I thought they were on the front end of a back-to-back, but they're not, right? Carolina. So they have Vancouver after this, but they have a day off after this too. So I like that Carolina puck line first period. I think that's my favorite play here. I might put a little bit on the team total over. And I'm going to look at Bussy under saves. Carolina is like such a huge shot suppression team. I think that they'll probably want to shut her down here pretty good too against a Seattle team that really doesn't get produced much shots at all. You got the best shot suppression team against the worst shot producing team. And if that's the case, then if I'm going to go under saves, I'm thinking about Seattle team total under, and Carolina just kind of shutting this down. They got a big road trip coming up. I'm not sure they want to go like balls out against Seattle in this game if they don't have to. If they can shut them down and play a perimeter game.
I don't mind that at all. In fact, I might bet a little something on that. I do bet the odd team total under, and it makes some sense. Seattle could be a good candidate for that. Yep.
Yeah. I think that's what I like here. I'm leaning more that way than I am to the over with Carolina, but I could definitely see the over, which case, Carolina in regulation is fine as well. That would be good. I could see like 3-0, 3-1. Maybe it does get to 4. But I think for the most part, in the beginning of a road trip, if they can conserve some energy, they got Vancouver next, and then they got the huge game against Edmonton. If they can conserve energy, Seattle can be tough to do that against because they are scrappy. But I think they've got enough speed back there. They got enough puck movement, and they're shot. They shot suppress that way more than they do block shots. They're actually one of the lower block shot teams in the league because they just can control the game. And if they do that, I don't see Seattle getting much here. So I'm going to take the team total under for Seattle as my bigger bet.
Yeah. Like I said, I see the case for that. No question. All right, Dallas, Vancouver. We've got Dallas minus 180, road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Vancouver, we saw them obviously in their first game back from the break. They lost in overtime to the Winnipeg Jets 3-2. Then they went to Seattle. They lost 5-1 in that game. So we'll see how they fare here in this one. I'll say this, though. I am waiting on goaltending here to be determined. It is going to be Tolopilo. I'm not that surprised by it. I'll be honest. Right now, Tolopilo is playing okay. He's playing all right. I'm not saying he's been great, but he's been better than Lankinen. That much I can tell you. He's definitely been the better of the two current netminders in the rotation here for the Vancouver Canucks. So yeah, Nikita Tolopilo will start here for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. So. That's confirmed. Jake Ottinger's projected. We haven't got confirmation yet. Of course, no change for Dallas. Hintz day-to-day. Faksa and Rantanen, of course, still on IR. And no doubt Sagan, of course, not back for the rest of the season. Very interesting developments with Vancouver that Tyler Myers didn't play against Seattle. And there's talk that his name's being thrown around in trade potential here. And it could be that kind of a reason as to why he's been out of the lineup. And I think he might be out once again for Vancouver tonight for that reason. Yeah, Topo Gigio, Topo Chico, I know. I know. That's an Alex creation there, that one, no doubt. Topo Gigio's from the Ed Sullivan Show, like in the 60s.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good one.
Igor Wences controlled that thing. That's going back in time. Yeah, it was good, actually. It was a good ventriloquist act back in the 60s on the old Ed Sullivan Show. Yeah, another example of my old geezer syndrome as I've gotten older in life. But nevertheless, I still like it a little bit. Not as much. If it was Lankinen, I'm full bore on this, but I like Dallas team total over still. I think they can get to 4 goals. I like what they've been doing offensively here. I know they only scored the 3 against Nashville, but 4 against Seattle. And you go back to that, in this 8-game win streak for the Dallas Stars, they have scored 4 or 5 in the majority of these games. So I still think the Dallas team total is worth a look here. Over 3.5 at around, that's actually plus money. With that Dallas team total over. So I like that a little bit. This is just like the Carolina game where I've got the team total and the full game over. But I've got more on the team total than I do the full game over. Alex, what do you think? Stars, Canucks?
Yeah, this is a great over by fact, the spot, and especially when you can get that minus 130 with it over 5.5 still at FanDuel. Of course, you can always wait a little bit longer in game and try and get that closer to pick them closer to the plus price. But I'm on all first period over as well. at minus $1.16 with that over 1.5. And I probably will grab Dallas team total, but once again, like I said, you're laying $1.05, $1.10. Wait a couple minutes into the contest, you can get that plus $1.10. So I'll wait and grab plus money with the team total, but pregame I am on the over by fact.
And the one thing we do have to remember, that Lankinen struggled. They gave up the 5 to Seattle. It's still a porous defensive team right now, the Vancouver Canucks. And yes, Tolopilo played all right against Winnipeg, only gave up the 3 goals in the overtime loss. But we just turned, and Winnipeg's not been a great offensive juggernaut of late. We turned around and saw Winnipeg get shut down by San Jose yesterday, only score 1 goal. So I can't go too crazy, about Tolopilo, having a nice performance there against Winnipeg. It's not like Winnipeg been lighting it up here. These couple games since the break. So no question, like I said, I think this is the test. Dallas is coming in here with some pretty good offensive form going back to even before the break. Perlo, what do you think here, Dallas, Vancouver?
See, 8 straight games, Vancouver has not scored more than 2 goals. Dallas is, again, one of the best shot suppression teams in the league. I don't think they scored 2 goals here. Give me Vancouver under 1.5, and you're getting that at a good. Under.
Oh,
2.
You're foregoing the 2.5 because under 2.5 team total for Vancouver.
Actually, you know what? I think I'll ladder it. I think I'll go 1.5 and 2.5. I'll ladder it. I don't think Vancouver does all that much here. I don't mind the over. So give me Dallas in regulation as well. I don't mind that team total over. It's really, I feel like Dallas can pick their number here. Vancouver is terrible. I would have a much more difficult time with Seattle or something like that. Like, this Vancouver team is absolutely god awful. So as long as Dallas isn't like totally disinterested, they should win this game in regulation. And with Tolopilo in net, I don't mind the team total over at all. So you get the better price with the team total over. I'll put a little bit on all of those, but I like Vancouver team total under here.
Yeah, I like Maverick Bourque. Someone mentioned in the chat that's the one I like because he's actually got good head-to-head history against Vancouver. He scored against them before, so and plus Maverick Bourque remains, pretty high up the lineup here with Wyatt Johnston. And Wyatt Johnston, by the way, has scored in consecutive games too. So that line's been good. Bourque, Johnston, and Robertson. I think we're due for Maverick Bourque to get on the board. So plus 340 for Maverick Bourque, I definitely think is a good price for him, maybe to find the back of the net tonight for the Dallas Stars. All right, the beginning of a new era. Final game of the night and the beginning of a new era for the Los Angeles Kings. It's funny how this smile just comes right across my face knowing I'm going to get to talk about the Los Angeles Kings and Jim Hiller's not coaching this bunch anymore. Oh, that's such a great feeling. We've got Colorado minus 170, road favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. So you know where I'm going on this. This is, we don't ask, we don't overthink it, we don't overcomplicate it. First game after a coaching change, we're on that team. We're betting them. And even if it is the Los Angeles Kings, and even if it is against a team the quality of the Colorado Avalanche, this is just what happens in these spots. Team plays with their hair on fire. They play with renewed energy. They come out storming early in the hockey game. And we're probably going to see all kinds of that here from the LA Kings tonight. So what we're going to do here is a couple of different things on the LA Kings as far as this goes, because I think part of it is, they have some injuries with Fiala, Kuzmenko, but for one game at the now, I don't know if this is going to be a team that goes on a 10-1 run like the Columbus Blue Jackets did with Rick Bowness as the head coach, but I'm talking about for one game. I know Perlo's shaking his head, but for one game, we're going to buy in. And let's be honest about Colorado. You watch this team play. Have they been anything special of late? I would say no. They didn't play good against Minnesota and lost at home to the Wild. I thought they were sleepy for a good chunk against Chicago over the weekend. They're not playing this lights out, dynamic, tremendous hockey right now. So I expect the energy, the adrenaline, change, clean slate, hit the reset button to work for the Kings. Now, get your pens and paper out or whatever you got to do to recite, log all of this about what I'm going to say. But like I said, this is several different bets. This is basically breaking up about a unit to a unit and a half on this hockey game for me on all these different bets. I'm even going to have to pull it up on my screen because I don't think off the top of my head even I can remember them all. But this is where we're going here for this game because, like I said, I do think we'll get certainly a spirited beginning for sure from the LA Kings here. So I've got LA goal in the first period, minus 132 at FanDuel. I think I like that one the most. LA goal in the first period here, minus 132 at FanDuel. LA first goal, first period, plus 160, which I think is a great price. That's a great, great price. LA Kings first goal, first period, plus 160. Then the smaller bets are LA first period money line, plus 128. We've got the sprinkle on the LA Kings full game money line, plus 150. Los Angeles team total over 2.5 at minus 114. So the full game team total over for the Kings. And then I have the over by Fecta here. First period over, full game over. Note that with DJ Smith now taking over as the interim head coach, he wants this team to play a little faster, a little more pace. We'll see if that shows because that's certainly the way the Ottawa Senators played when he was the head coach there a few years ago. So I expect, good energy. And the one thing is, they play this style against Colorado. Colorado's going to get chances the other way. So I have a feeling this turns into a 5-4, 4-3 type of game tonight between these two teams. Not to mention, actually, the games in LA going back 2-3 years between the Avalanche and the Kings have been trending over the total anyway. So, and that was with, more stodgy, more, defensive minded, slow it down type of philosophy. And DJ Smith kind of wants the Kings to kind of ramp it up a little bit here, at least initially. So there we go, just to repeat it. And I'm going to repeat it in terms of biggest bets to smallest bets. Well, actually, no, I like the over by Fecta as much as the first bets. So over by Fecta, LA first goal, first period, plus 160. LA goal in the first period, minus 132. And then the smaller ones, we go money line first period, LA, full game money line, LA, plus 150. And then the LA team total. Over 2.5 here in this one. So it's basically about 1.5 units worth of wagers for me sprinkled across all of those ones. Alex, Colorado, LA.
It's a bold strategy, Ian. Let's see if it works out. And I get your thought process here with backing
Shut
LA.
the season down if they don't win tonight. These are spots teams win 99.9% of the time. First game after a coaching change. They don't win tonight. Shut it down.
I think there will be an uptick with the LA Kings with DJ Smith. I just find the opponent problematic. A Colorado team coming in after 2 home games where there was a loss and a sloppy win. I just expect Colorado to come out guns blazing this one. I like LA first goal, first period, plus 160 at FanDuel. Get it at FanDuel because it's plus 145 at MGM. I saw 140 at another book too, so that's the best price for that. But I think at that point, that could be what, like I said, if the DJ Smith wants this team to play up tempo, this ain't the team to start playing up tempo against because you poke the bear, you get a couple of goals out of the lead, all of a sudden Colorado wakes up, and next thing you know, you look at the scoreboard, it's 3-2 Avalanche. And like I said, we haven't seen that the last couple of games. It would not shock me one bit to see them turn around and have a business-like road approach to this game. So I'm on LA first goal, first period pregame. Everything else I like in game. I like the over by Fecta. I'll more than likely be grabbing some Colorado money line if they are trailing late in that first period. Even if LA cashed that first period money line, I definitely will be grabbing some piece of Colorado. But I can see the Avs getting the win here.
Yeah, that's why when I said the first period bets that I'm on for LA, the one that I like the most, 100% the one that I like the most, and the most I got money I've got on one bet for LA in that first period, it's that goal in the first period bet, minus 132. Then I don't have to worry. Colorado 1-0, which could happen. It could happen, but yeah, I'd like that more than the first goal first period, even though I love the price plus 160. I think they got a great chance to score the first goal, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen because, Colorado's very dangerous. And I feel better, more confident in LA just getting a goal in the first period, regardless of when it is.
I just think the energy with LA will be early enough to where they can capitalize on it. I trust in the energy in that building and with that team in the first 10 minutes. If you wanted to look at Kings to score in the first 10 minutes, I know it's a prop I've seen at a couple offshore books. That would be something I'd be looking at more. But if they don't hop over Colorado early in the first, do you see this if it's scoreless? Do you see LA getting that momentum back after intermission and then changes being made with the Avs and then taking over from there? I really don't. So I think it's important for them to get out early in that first 20 minutes.
And just to confirm, Drew Doughty's out. They do have injuries, LA. I mean, this is, like I said, I know the coaching change, and we all think there's going to be a coach bump, and I hope there is, but, they do have some personnel out. Doughty's out. Armia's out. Of course, Kuzmenko and Fiala long-term, they're out. And now Trevor Moore's out as well tonight with an illness. No Trevor Moore for LA. So it's going to be Panarin, Kopitar, Kempe, Laferriere, Byfield, Turcotte. That's going to be your top 6 tonight. Fogle, Kenny Connors, and Corey Perry making up the third line. Kenny Connors has been recalled from Ontario in the American Hockey League. Connors, this will be his first NHL game. He's got good numbers down there, though. 29 points, 49 games down there. So he's been a good performer down there for the Ontario Reign. Jeff Malott, Sam Hellenius, and Taylor Ward, the fourth line here for the LA Kings tonight. So a little bit of a shakeup with Trevor Moore ruled out for the Kings. And it looks like there is no flu, Jonathan, contrary to the hopes of DJ Smith, that he is going to be good to go. McKinnon is fine, and he will be in the lineup. And I think we're going to see Anton Forsberg here tonight. It hasn't been confirmed. It sure seems like he's going to get the start. And to be honest with you, for anyone backing LA, you'd probably want Forsberg in there. I mean, Kemper didn't look right at all. That game was atrocious for Kemper, against Edmonton. So, I think we're going to wait and see, where he's at. But, like I said, Forsberg's capable. Is he always great? Is he always consistent? No. But yeah, Kemper is the flu and dealing with insomnia too. So there you go, sleep issues, and obviously, look, coming back from the Olympics,
from Europe,
you can understand why that is, no doubt. All right, Perlo, where are you going with this? I mean, you were just as outspoken as anybody with what the hell took so long to get Jim Hiller out of there. But now that he's gone, what do you think for these Kings tonight?
Over 5.5 is my play here. Pretty much. I do think the Los Angeles will play with pace and energy. There's a lot of interesting things here. I mean, this LA team was playing a collapsed defense under Smith. Now, was that Smith doing that, or was that Hiller telling him to do it? And he was trying to build some offense from the defense from that, which is a very difficult thing to do. I think that's more likely the case, that he was doing what Hiller was telling him to do and trying to build some offense from the defense, from a collapsed defense, which is pretty tough to do. And when you consider the fact that he was a terrible defensive coach in Ottawa and basically had no system whatsoever, this is going to be a clusterfuck game as far as I'm concerned. I agree with your LA. I agree with your, because I mean, they had some system and now they have a guy that's just going to go out there and say, play hard and go and do it. I think there's going to be a lot of confusion and all that kind of stuff in this game. So I like the over 5.5. I do like the Los Angeles look where they score first, but I would prefer the over 1.5 first period, the bifecta here. One thing I may do, what I think, this is a live betting game to me. If Los Angeles scores first and Colorado looks like they are, like Alex made some great points. They haven't really played all that well right now. It's the first game. Like, you might want to get things moving here in this spot. If they start coming back with some pace, I'm going to bet Colorado live to win the game. I don't trust Los Angeles still. I don't trust DJ Smith to be able to, like, Alex made a great point. If Colorado, I trust Colorado and Bednar to change their playing style to play against LA.
Let's get this crystal clear. We hate Hiller, and we did not hate him as far as a coach.
But Smith is
job he did. But
you know what it's like?
A terrible job. But let's not act like they're bringing in Barry Melrose or Daryl Sutter in here.
Correct.
It's like if you were a teenager in the 2000s and you bought yourself a 1985 Pinto, and your parents told you that, oh, we're going to get you a brand new car, and you go out on your birthday and it's a 1988 Pinto, that's about what you got here. And so I'm not giving Smith. I don't trust Smith. I don't think he can adjust anything in the game, where I think Colorado can, as Alex said there. So I think that Colorado will eventually win this game, and I hope LA scores first, and then Colorado comes back and win the game. I know the coach bump. I normally would be all over the coach bump. I mean, I hate the idea of me going against a coach bump, but if there was ever a spot to go against it, it's probably here. So most of my stuff will be live, but I do love the over first period, and I love the over 5.5. And I like the fact that Laferriere is going back on the wing, and he's going to be on that second line. He is much better on the wing than he is as a center, so he has a better chance of scoring. I believe he's back on the wing, right? Moore was up the middle. Did they push him back to center, or are they keeping him on the wing?
Yeah.
It's Byfield, him, and you said Turcotte. He's giving Turcotte a shot up there.
Yeah, it's going to be Byfield centering Laferriere and Turcotte.
Laferriere, yeah. Give me Laferriere for a goal here. Yeah. I will take Laferriere for a goal.
I like Laferriere.
Let's go Laferriere first goal. Let's go first goal. What the heck? Why not?
And from New Jersey, not Quebec. Alex,
a little bit on both. Yeah. So that's what I like. But over, I do like the over. I do like the over. You play against Colorado with energy and no direction, so probably an over coming at you.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's goals tonight as well. Like I said, I like the over by effect every bit as much as I like the first period looks in this game. Yeah, and I like Laferriere for goal prop, no question, for the LA Kings. This might even be a night for Panarin over 1.5 points. Which I don't talk about point props very often, but, he did have a 2-point night against Vegas in his Kings debut last week. It feels like this could be a kind of night where, LA is trying to push for offense with that energy and obviously a little change in the way, Jonathan Davis mentioned it in the chat. DJ Smith said he's going to let the horses out of the stable tonight, going to let them be creative. Yep. Said he's going to let them go. The top six, if they, make it happen offensively. Said yesterday that he will open things up for the top six. There you go.
Maybe LA can pull this.
Well, all you have to do is think back to what kind of style did Ottawa play when DJ Smith was the head coach there. They played an up and down style. They did.
Everybody bang into each other, run around in the offensive zone, and hopefully score a goal. That's what they did.
Yeah. No question. But, it's just a look at the situation here where, as far as goal props are concerned, like I said, Laferriere I like for the Colorado for the LA Kings. For Colorado, Gavin Brindley at plus 900. He did score last game. And like I said, I think he's had chances in other games too. So it's a big number, and he's certainly someone with some good offensive skill and ability as well. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as far as a goal prop with a little bit extra value there, the longer shot variety with Gavin Brindley here for Colorado. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We do have a couple of, not a couple of announcements. I'm not going to give away the day because we always announce it the day of, but we do have, and I mean very soon, a Patreon exclusive live betcast coming up. So again, stay tuned for that. That is definitely something you want to note, but we will make the announcement right now of our free-for-all betcast date for the month of March.
This is breaking news from the Ice Guys.
So again, this is a very busy month for sports bettors and handicappers, especially those like me that are involved in college basketball. March Madness, the conference tournaments, and the NCAA tournament itself takes up a lot of time and a lot of attention. So we're only going to have probably one, maybe two Patreon betcasts, and of course the one free-for-all betcast. But the one free-for-all betcast, we have announced the date, and there you see it. It will be Tuesday, March 24th. So basically 3 weeks from tomorrow will be our free-for-all, open to the public, live betcast for the month of March, Tuesday, March 24th. It's a great night of hockey. There's a lot of great games that night, actually. And it falls on a night with no college basketball. Like there's no college basketball tournament action going on that night. So it's the perfect choice. Tuesday, March 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern time, live betcast. As always, make sure you DM or email either of us to join the Betcast. We'll send you the link before it begins. So March 24th, be there for the Ice Guys Free for All live Betcast. WizardSportsPicks.com, be there too. Daily premium picks. We are in March. College basketball has started. And of course, 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, 1-year, all sports subscriptions available. It's been an amazing run on the site. Profitable in all sports right now. NHL #1 on the website. So check it out. Big NHL card for me going tonight on there. So wizardsportspicks.com. And of course, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. Again, we appreciate everyone that signed up. Goalie charts, totals charts, bonus content, exclusive live betcasts to Patreon members only. And of course, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So make sure you get on board. Your $10 membership per month goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. So get on board, $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. It's starting to get warm out. Springtime is right around the corner. It's a great time to grab a new hoodie, grab a new cap, a new T-shirt, maybe all three. You can get those right now at the Ice Guys store. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, good stuff. Bargain bin special of the night, best bets, coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, it is time for Bargain Bin Special of the night. And boy, oh boy, we've got, it's been a great run. It seems like we're in one of these grooves again where someone is coming through for us each show with a Bargain Bin Special, whether it's Matt Robinson and Logan Cooley, first goal Utah Friday night, whether it's Alex with Cole Caulfield, 2 goals for Montreal on Saturday night, whether it's me with Anders Lee yesterday for the New York Islanders. We're in one of these runs again where at least one of us is coming through and delivering a Bargain Bin Special winner. We'll see if we've got one lined up again for this Monday night. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain Bin Special of the night.
Yeah, I got a pair of them. First, we will start with that Seattle-Carolina game. Like I said, it's been a red-hot line with Carolina with Hall, Stankoven, and one Jackson Blake. I'm going to go with Jackson Blake anytime goal and get that plus 340. Was the price that I found available over at FanDuel. So Jackson Blake anytime goal plus 340. That's my first bargain bin. My second bargain bin will come from that Dallas-Vancouver game. Guy we've cashed with time and time before, Thomas Harley, anytime goal scorer for Dallas. You can get him at DraftKings plus 600, best price available. So Jackson Blake for the Canes plus 340 anytime goal, and Thomas Harley anytime goal plus 600. Those are my 2 bargain bin specials for this Monday night.
Oh, sounds like we lost him.
We might have lost Ian Perlo. What do you like for the bargain bin special?
Well, I talked to him on the last game. I got 2. I actually had 3. I don't get on here very often. I take 3. That LA game, LaFerriere, I like him on the wing there. You get him I think it was plus 350. And I like going to the Dallas game. I like Johnston up on that top line. That guy could score. Vancouver has nothing up the middle to stop that guy. Pettersson is not a bad defense player, but I'm going to take him for 2 at plus 750. And I like that lot and play against Philadelphia.
There you go. I had to plug my laptop in. I didn't realize the friggin' battery died and I didn't have the charger plugged in.
Before I go, I forgot. I talk about the show all the time. 9:30 Eastern, Rico and Perla's House of Exotic Jaime's NHL Picks Frolic, where you get to see in depth how we come up with this. It is long. It can be like 3-4 hours, but we do.
I don't know how you guys go that long, but that's okay. It makes it a good show. A lot of depth to it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the whole thing is I always had people saying that they enjoyed listening to me come up with how I did my picks. So we got together and said, why don't we try it for a show? And that's really what it's all about. It's just how we dissect the games and how we come up with the picks, and you get the picks as well. You can watch the video version afterwards. We timestamp each game, and there's a short all our picks at the end of it as well. And it's not family friendly, my friends. It's not family friendly. So
neither is this show. So
that can draw you to there. But we talked about it last night. Like even Pole Body was saying, something to the effect of was bringing it up quite a bit last night about how unfamily friendly it is. It's late. It happens that late, and you can find out how unfamily friendly. But it's funny. You have a blast. You have a good time. You have JD, which you see in the chat all here, West Coast.
JD's family friendly, you know.
Yeah. I think he shakes his head, but Dre and I more than anything. JD's awesome. Love him. God, see, he's there from VSiN. Don't forget VSiN. He's pretty good. It's cool. He's also on Sirius Radio. I think he was today. Yeah, he's on Sirius Radio. He was on today. And Dre Martinez, I call him Parlay Dre. You like parlays, go with Dre there. He's fantastic. So see us 9:30 Eastern ish. I try to get on it, but it's usually a little.
Yeah, it's a moving target with the start time, but it's around that time usually for for Perlo's show. All right, okay, bargain bin special of the night for me. I've got 2 tonight. Charlie Coyle, one more time for the birthday boy for the Blue Jackets, plus 310. You can find at DraftKings, Charlie Coyle, Columbus. And the other bargain bin special, we're going to ride the hot hand of Taylor Hall for the Carolina Hurricanes, plus 390 at DraftKings. He scored in back-to-back games for the Hurricanes. So Charlie Coyle, plus 310 for Columbus, and Taylor Hall, plus 390 for Carolina. For my 2 bargain bin specials of the night. Yeah, Fred Thomas, I'm seeing this. I want to check out the live bet show. Patreon. Well, we're going to have one very, very soon, as in very soon on Patreon, an exclusive live bet cast. We're going to have a bunch of them on Patreon. So it's patreon.com/iceguys, Fred, as far as the signing up for the Patreon stuff, the daily betting card, the live bet casts. Again, we're going to have a bunch of, I can't stress this enough. We're going to have a ton of Patreon exclusive live betcasts, April, May, and June. Tons of them. You're only going to get one free for all. Everything else is going to be Patreon per month as far as the live betcasts. So again, all the more reason, get on board at patreon.com/iceguys. Yeah, 2-2 Detroit and Nashville. So back and forth. And by the way, John Gibson's left that game, upper body injury. Cam Talbot taking over in net for the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, no. Yes. Gibson oversaves.
Nope, that's done, Perlo. See you later. Adios with
that out to anybody.
That sucks. So it always sucks when you lose it like that, goalie injury. But Cam Talbot now in the game for the Detroit Red Wings there. All right, best bets to wrap up this show. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
When it's March and April, you take what the books give you, and when you have the better team and a cheap price, you roll with it. Give me the Columbus Blue Jackets minus $1.20 on the money line against the Rangers. Like I said, we can't trust the Rangers to string together 2 wins at home. Certainly not this year. So CBJ on the money line. That's my best bet tonight.
All right, Perlo, best bet.
Yeah, and about the guy that was asking about that Patreon, you got to hit it up, man. It's only $10. I've said it over and over and over again. And you go watch the live stuff, take a bunch of your bankroll, go there, and you'll probably end up a good several units and pay for that $10 all over the place. Never mind the fact that you get their full card every day and all the stuff you get on there. It's fantastic. Anyways, what am I going to do here? I think I'm going to take that Seattle team total under at minus 120 for my best bet today.
All right, Seattle Kraken team total under 2.5. That price is minus 115 for the Seattle Kraken.
15 now? Good. All right.
Seattle Kraken team total under. My best bet, Yeah, let's go with the team total too, but I'm going to go with a first period team total. Give me the Los Angeles Kings, fresh off the coaching change, to score a goal in the first period. It's currently minus 132 at FanDuel. So team total over 0.5, minus 132 first period, goal in the first period, whatever you want to call it. Los Angeles to get a goal in the first period, minus 132 tonight against Colorado. I expect good energy off the opening face-off, the coach bump. That'll be my best bet here for this Monday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, we appreciate it very much. And a great show as always. Back tomorrow. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith and Perlo, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will see you tomorrow on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.